Okay. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. We start by prayer. Let's have a prayer. Amen. Okay, thank you so much. I want just housekeeping. I want to remind councillors that this is probably a statutory meeting that we are required to hold, and we are bound by timelines. But I want to remind the members in this room that the dress code is suit and tie for the gentlemen. For the ladies, we consider your shoulders to be private parts, so you need to keep them covered with short-sleeved or long-sleeved shirts, or if you are short-sleeved within, you need to have a jacket. That's what the bylaws say. And for the gentlemen, I know it's hot, but it's suit and tie. Today we will continue simply because we are following strict guidelines. But please be reminded that this dress code must be obeyed until varied or changed by the various instruments. So let's be guided accordingly for our next meeting and other meetings that we are to hold. Am I correct, Chamber Secretary?
Yes, you are correct.
Yes. So our Chamber Secretary agrees that the grand scheme of things, if you are undressed or improperly dressed, I have the right to check you out. Today I will consider you properly dressed for the purposes of reading the budget. But the next meeting, you might want to save yourselves the embarrassment of your constituents seeing you being chucked out for being improperly dressed. The colors must not be multi-colors. We must not look like butterflies, except if probably you are a lady. So if you are a gentleman, your shirt must not be busy. It must not look like you are auditioning for a rumba band. Willow Longomba. Notice.
Thank you, Worship. Notice is hereby given that a special meeting of council will be held in the council chamber townhouse on Thursday, the 30th of October 2025 at 10 a.m.
Okay. The provisions.
In terms of section 84, subsection 4 of the Urban Councils Act, chapter 2915, no other matters other than those specified in the notice or agenda shall be discussed at a special meeting of council. So we'll stick to the agenda only.
Thank you.
No further discussions.
Thank you. Are there any leave of absence? Any other leave of absence? Speak up. Okay. Thank you. Please note that this is a budget This budget will be deposited for 30 days for public comments. So if there are issues that particular councillors need to raise, or the various constituencies, or the various stakeholders, they are able to raise those issues within the 30 days, and we will then be able to attend.
Those minutes. So, Your Worship, having said that, may I now call upon you to invite the chairperson of the Finance and Development Committee, Councillor Costerman, to present the budget.
Yes, Chair. May you come and give us our Christmas presents and goodies.
Your Worship. His Worship, the Mayor of the City of Harare, Councillor J. Mafume, the Deputy Mayor in absentia, Councillor Rose Mronda, honorable councillors, the acting town clerk, engineer Nekairo, heads of departments, esteemed stakeholders who are following this budget presentation from various online platforms, invited guests, members of the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon to you all. Thank you. Your Worship, I wish to start my statement by extending my genuine gratitude to every resident associations, civic communities, and organizations that contributed to the development of the 2026 budget for the capital city of the Republic of Zimbabwe. 2025 fiscal year has been a difficult period for both the city and the residents of Harare due to significant challenges in the service delivery value chain. Significant challenges that were afflicting our communities range from limited access to clean water to deteriorating infrastructure. The willingness to engage with us reflects not just cooperation, but a deep belief in the future of our city. We recognize the value of this and we will treat it with the respect it deserves. The whole process of developing the 2026 financial plan was done in line with the guiding principles of the Urban Councils Act, ensuring that this budget was crafted through consultations. The participation of our stakeholders was very invaluable. The feedback and honest conversations were essential insights that grounded us in the realities of our community's needs. This allowed us to develop a budget that is both financially sound and highly responsive to social concerns aimed at recovering and long-term sustainability. The strength of this process lies in the extensive outreach we undertook. We held comprehensive ward-level consultation meetings. We believe that the process was intensive enough and ensured that no voice was left unheard across our city. We engaged residents' associations, the key stakeholders who live the daily realities and clamor for improved services. We engaged the business community. These are key partners in economic resilience and job creation. We also engaged the women, youth, persons with disabilities. These are critical stakeholders in financial planning who ensure that the needs of the most vulnerable are prioritized. The faith-based organizations providing moral guidance and supporting community networks. Your Worship, these consultations were the foundation of the 2026 budget's development. By concentrating on the areas of greatest need, we crafted a budget specifically aimed at addressing critical concerns such as water supply, sanitation, health, public safety, road rehabilitation, and infrastructure development. We are nearing the completion of the 2021-2025 planning period, which is coinciding with the conclusion of the National Development Strategy 1. Our vision to achieve world-class city status by 2025 has had its fair share of wins and losses. Although we have made strides, some key challenges have hindered the full realization of our targets. Looking ahead to 2030, we will be aligning our ambitions with the national vision. Your Worship, before I introduce the theme of the City of Harare 2026 budget, allow me, on behalf of the Council, stakeholders, and residents of Harare, to express our profound gratitude to the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe for the persistent support in several transformative projects that are vital to our city's progress. We deeply appreciate the smart water metering project a critical initiative that will significantly address Harare's water supply challenges by enhancing access to clean and safe water for thousands of residents. This project presents not only an investment in infrastructure, but a commitment to improving public health and communities' well-being. In addition, we acknowledge the contribution facilitating the trial of alternative water treatment chemicals, which will play an essential role in maintaining the quality of our water supply through deployment of chlorine dioxide project. The deployment of advanced equipment, including state-of-the-art chlorine dioxide generators and specialized coagulation blending and dosing systems, will elevate the efficiency, safety, and sustainability of water treatment processes. Furthermore, we want to recognize the facilitation of the construction of the state-of-the-art markets in Mbare. This modern market facility will stimulate local economic activity, provide a safer and more organized space for traders, and empower small-scale entrepreneurs. We are genuinely thankful for the continuous partnership and support in advancing Harare's development. Your Worship, the theme for this budget is a commitment to inclusive growth, sustainable service delivery, and strong fiscal stewardship. A commitment to inclusive growth, sustainable service delivery, and strong fiscal stewardship. The theme shows a commitment to improving the quality and efficiency of public services while prioritizing sustainability. The theme is rooted on the following key tenets: financial management through implementation of a robust enterprise resource planning system. An efficient ARP is critical for the overall financial performance of the city. That is why a central, non-negotiable commitment in this 2026 budget is the comprehensive implementation of a robust enterprise resource planning system. On enhancing service delivery, the 2026 budget reaffirms our commitment to advancing the quality, availability, and responsiveness of municipal services. Recognizing persistent concerns from residents and stakeholders, particularly in water, sanitation, hygiene, roads, public safety, social services, and environmental management. We have strategically prioritized and allocated resources to these critical sectors. Building on last year's foundation, efforts now focus on scalable and sustainable interventions that respond effectively to evolving community needs while strengthening infrastructure and administrative capacity to ensure lasting impact and improved living standards for all Harare residents. Sustainable progress. The city of Harare is firmly committed to sustainable progress for all its residents. This means expanding access to essential services in a way that respects and preserves our environment. We are investing in infrastructure projects that provide clean energy, water, sanitation, and efficient waste management. We will be guided by the relevant master plan proposals in ensuring sustainability of all our operations. Your Worship, in my capacity as chairperson of Finance and Development Committee, I hereby move this motion in accordance with Section 276 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. This provision constitutionally empowers local authority with the authority to levy rates and taxes, thereby enabling council to generate sufficient revenue essential for fulfilling our mandated roles and responsibilities effectively. It is under this constitutional mandate that we proceed to ensure financial sustainability and enhanced service delivery for our city. Your Worship, Let me draw your attention to Section 47 of the Public Finance Management Act, which requires that Council submits to the Minister of Local Government and Public Works a budget of estimated revenue and expenditure for the 2026 financial year and the related annual strategic plan for approval. Furthermore, Section 288 of the Urban Councils Act supports the constitutional provision by demanding that each year, every committee of council shall prepare detailed estimates of income and expenditure on the revenue and capital accounts of that committee for the ensuing financial year and submit the estimates to the Finance and Development Committee. These legal provisions are critical because they guide our operations as a local authority. Your Worship, this budget answers the call to action by focusing on real and measurable results. Each program is clear on how their spending will help meet clear, time-specific goals in the areas of concern. Minimum service delivery standards launched earlier this year also guided the budget preparations. The minimum service delivery standards are the basic quality levels we must meet in all our services. Your Worship, the budget is in the following programs. 1, governance and administration. 2, water, sanitation and hygiene. 3, social services. 4, roads. 5, public safety and security. 6, natural resources and environment conservation. Your Worship, I hereby present and lay a consolidation of these submissions before Council.
Yes, Councillor Nyakuja. Councillor Manyenga.
Thank you.
Can you take, can some two councillors take the two front seats?
Your Worship, according to the 2026 budget strategy paper issued by the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion in July 2025, the global economy remains resilient, with growth recording a steady growth rate of 3.3% in 2024. In the outlook, GDP growth is expected to stabilize at around 3% in 2026 before rising by 3.2% both in 2027 and 2028. This marks a modest improvement from the slower pace of 2.8% projected for 2025, suggesting that the world economy will regain some momentum after weathering recent uncertainties. The same paper notes that in sub-Saharan Africa, growth is projected to accelerate from 3.8% in 2025 to 4.2% in 2026, before ending up to 4.5% both in 2027 and 2028. As the impact of previous weather shocks subsides and supply-side fundamentals improve, the region's outlook is supported by a rebound in agriculture and mining, as well as increased investment in green energy and technology. The positive growth that is being projected is good news for Harare. Harare's performance is strongly correlated with national and regional trends because it contributes about 1/3 of Zimbabwe's GDP, with the services sector accounting for the largest share of its output. In addition, the predicted growth in agriculture and mining in sub-Saharan Africa, combined with increased green energy and technology investment in the region, provides favorable conditions for Harare. Any major economic developments on the continent and in Zimbabwe is good for Harare because of the growth in business, which leads to disposable income and the fiscal space to honor municipal obligations for the residents of the city. On exchange rates, Your Worship, Following the introduction of the Zimbabwe Gold ZiG currency in April 2024, the country has experienced a largely stable exchange rate environment. The September 2024 ZiG USD exchange rate shock from 13.56 to 25:1. The ZiG has shed only 7% to date, with the current rate averaging 26.8:1. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has maintained a tight stance on money supply levels, which, coupled with some efforts from Treasury, has contributed to the stability being experienced. There remains need for strict financial discipline across the economy in order to sustain the stability and promote economic growth. The use of the local currency has increased since 2024 as economic agents continue to demand the currency to meet their daily and statutory obligations. This has impacted the city and local authorities in general, as liquidity has slightly improved as both ZiG and USD flows improve. The exchange rate stability has also diminished the rate payers' tendency to engage the black market in search for exchange gains, as the premium has become too low to attract the associated risks of arrest and or being conned by illegal street foreign currency operators. As one of the major recipients of the local currency, local authorities will benefit from the anticipated ZiG stability. Your Worship, as the year 2025 draws near closure, average month-on-month inflation is projected at 2.2%, while the year-on-year inflation rate is expected to average 69%. As alluded by the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, I quote, "This trajectory is anchored on the continuation of prudent fiscal and monetary policies, positive supply-side responses boosting production and exports, and a firm commitment to avoid monetization of the budget deficit."
Chair Finance, just a few seconds. I have a trip to catch, or a plane to catch, as I head far east to look for the investment that you are talking about, so that we can augment the budgetary supplies. I thought we would start a bit earlier, but now I'm precariously about to miss my flight. On account of Councillor Nyakujga being dressed appropriately, unlike others, I'll ask him to come and chair the meeting in my place instead.
Thank you.
So the lesson being that if you dress properly, you will be an acting mayor one day. So Councillor Nyakujga, please. Thank you. And now, as I take my leave.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. We wish the mayor a safe journey to the east. Welcome, Your Worship. Okay, Your Worship. Movements in the economic indicators, including the exchange and inflation rates, point to improved sustainability across the economic divide. Promotion and sustainability of the prevailing stability will benefit the generality of the nation, including local authorities, as one of the major recipients of the local currency. The projected economic growth for 2026 and the pathway to 2030 national vision requires all economic agents in the country to embrace the same work ethic that puts the national interest first. Your Worship, the city is finalizing 2025 to 2045 master plan, which is still going through scrutiny and input from stakeholder groups. The master plan will be key to achieve the city's contribution towards the Vision 2030, starting with ensuing operating year. Residents and stakeholders alike share the same vision as in the spirit of the master plan to provide enabling environment to economic sustainability. employment creation and development of the SME sector will be central to the intended trajectory. Your Worship, let me also take this opportunity to call upon our esteemed Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe governor and team to improve communication of the de-dollarization roadmap. This will help the impact of uniting the economy towards the same agenda of economic sustainability and reduce speculative tendencies in the business environment. It will also impact on our planning as a local authority as we plan towards the Vision 2030 and beyond. On challenges, Your Worship, as we seek to attain the tenets of our theme, a commitment to inclusive growth, sustainable service delivery, and strong fiscal stewardship, we need to be alive to the following challenges. Licensing fees. Licensing fees laws, the significant regulatory changes being introduced by the central government, specifically the wide-ranging reduction and scrapping of various national and local authority license fees. These measures, intended to improve the ease of doing business, fundamentally reshape our municipal revenue landscape. Your Worship, we are faced with an immediate fiscal reality, which I have named the revenue shock. The move will definitely have an immediate impact on our municipal purse. As a local authority, we have historically relied on business operating licenses, liquor licenses, and other permits as critical pillars of our own revenue. The projected deficit resulting from the slashing of fees, such as the liquor license application fee from $1,080 to a capped $20 in most categories, and the removal of fees like the local bakery license, translate into an initial annual shortfall of approximately $500,000 United States of our non-rates revenue per annum. The shortfall, if unaddressed, would immediately jeopardize our core mandate. On the introduction of prepaid metering systems for public lighting infrastructure and traffic signals, this strains the already tight fiscal space, and it is a burden to administer the system in light of the number of streetlights and traffic signals in the city. Furthermore, the risk of lights and signals being disconnected when the tokens run out poses serious public safety and traffic management concerns. Engagements with the ZETDC on the matter are ongoing as we seek a sustainable solution. Your Worship, the high cost of essential inputs, particularly water treatment chemicals, remains an operational threat. These chemicals are priced in USD, yet the city bills for services primarily in the local currency ZiG. Your Worship, the current vehicle licensing revenue allocation framework has presented funding constraints for the city's road infrastructure program. While the existing model has facilitated national coordination of road financing, the allocations received by the city of Harare have not been sufficient to meet the growing demands of road construction, maintenance, and rehabilitation. Given the city's expansive road network and high vehicle density, there is a scope for continued engagement and collaboration with ZINARA and other stakeholders to explore ways of enhancing the adequacy of disbursements. Strengthening these partnerships will be key to ensuring sustainable investment in Harare's road infrastructure and improving mobility for all residents. On law collection efficiency, despite measures to enforce payment, overall collection efficiency remains below optimal levels. This affects service delivery initiatives. The city's infrastructure, much of which is very old, requires massive investment that current resources cannot meet. On bureaucratic procurement processes, The delayed implementation of the e-government procurement system internally created procurement bottlenecks, resulting in limited recapitalization of service delivery operations and slowed down project implementation across programs. Your Worship, below is a summary of the challenges and interventions to be implemented in 2026 to address the challenges. On financial constraints, we intend to streamline the streamlining of expenditure to critical items. On cost burden, we intend to continue engagement with the government to allow the city to charge demand-driven services in foreign currency to build capacity for procurement of chemicals and other critical consumables. On inadequate road funding, we have to continue engagement with ZINARA. On infrastructure decay, we have to leverage on triple Ps for aggressive reinvestment. On bureaucratic procurement systems, we have to streamline procurement processes to ensure efficiency. Your Worship, let me address the critical issue of financial reporting. The city was last audited for the 2021 financial statements. The audits for the 2022, 2023, and 2024 fiscal years are currently underway, and we are working diligently to conclude this backlog. We are optimistic that by the end of the first quarter of 2026, the city will be fully compliant and up to date with its statutory reporting. The delay in completing these audits is acknowledged, and concerted efforts are being made to bring financial reporting fully up to date. The city remains committed to addressing audit findings and strengthening internal controls. In this regard, the implementation of the ERP system, BIQ, will be instrumental in improving financial oversight and addressing recommendations raised by the Auditor General. Going forward, all audit recommendations will be systematically implemented to ensure transparency, accountability, and the efficient utilization of public resources. Achieving current and reliable audited accounts is more than just a compliance issue. It is the cornerstone of good governance, accountability, and transparency. Any investor, whether local or international, must be able to confidently measure the financial health of the city through reliable and verified accounts. Your Worship, last year we were battling with the procurement bottlenecks, and this challenge still persists. An efficient and well-oiled procurement system is the central engine of service delivery. When procurement is slow, our residents suffer from poor services. The investment in the government program in 2026 budget is targeted. The investment in the governance program in the 2026 budget is targeted precisely at fixing this system by introducing digital, transparent, and swift controls, ensuring every dollar is maximized for the public good. Your Worship, the city of Harare is existing in a dynamic local economy shaped by steady population growth, changes in employment patterns, and fresh interest from the private sector. The 2026 budget is based in a clear understanding of these realities, aiming to balance effective service delivery, financial stability, and inclusive growth. As the urban economy grows, so does the demand for housing, transport, utilities, and jobs, creating both new opportunities and challenges for our municipal infrastructure. Your Worship, Harare's population is projected to surpass 2.3 million residents by 2026, up from 2022 census figures of 1.489 million. reflecting an annual urbanization rate of approximately 2.5%. This growth has intensified demand for water, wastewater management, transport, and housing, with informal settlements expanding on the city's periphery, especially in Budiriro, Epworth, Heathcliff, and Caledonia. Your Worship, the Harare Master Plan 2025 to 2045 promotes compact vertical growth within serviced areas to limit urban sprawl, reduce infrastructure pressure, and improve service delivery efficiency. The city is also prioritizing infill housing development, redevelopment of underutilized municipal land, and the creation of mixed-use urban nodes that integrate commercial, residential, and transport functions. Your Worship, the daily urban mobility exceeds 800,000 commuter trips, underscoring the need for improved public transport, parking management, and pedestrian infrastructure. The decentralization of administrative and service functions into 5 regional zones has also reshaped the urban movement and fiscal decentralization patterns. On employment levels and economic structure, Your Worship, employment levels remain uneven across sectors, with the formal sector estimated to account for 30 to 40% of the working population, while the informal economy absorbs the remainder. The city's informal economy, encompassing vending, small-scale manufacturing, transport services, and construction, have become a major livelihood source, generating approximately $1.5 billion annually in local trade. On sectoral shifts, Harare's economy is gradually shifting from heavy industry towards services, logistics, technology, and light manufacturing in line with global urban trends. The Workington, Masasa, and Granite Side industrial clusters remain critical production nodes, but require recapitalization and infrastructure support. Despite the economic resilience, youth unemployment remains above 40%, with many school leavers and graduates entering the informal economy. The 2026 budget therefore places emphasis on skills development, entrepreneurship support, and youth-oriented infrastructure projects to promote inclusive economic participation. On strategic implications, Your Worship, urbanization, employment, and private sector dynamics present both opportunities and fiscal pressures. To remain sustainable, the city must continue to strengthen economic planning through data-driven policy tools and GIS mapping, also align infrastructure investments with the urban growth corridors, promote entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystems, and deepen collaboration with the private sector to ensure Harare's transformation into a smart, resilient, and inclusive capital city under the national vision. Your Worship, in the absence of the traditional grants and donor funding, the city of Harare has evolved to embrace private sector practice and finance to improve service delivery. The global funding economy is evolving, and the city must adapt to remain effective and efficient. It is crucial that we not only recover, but thrive in this changing environment. To that end, I'm excited to present a range of investment opportunities that will drive the city forward. Key sectors such as technology, renewable energy, and infrastructure are poised for growth. On technology, with the advancement in digital solutions, we encourage investments in digital solutions that will complement the ERP and other council processes. In line with our vision, the city will use technology to improve efficiency and quality of service. Opportunities include council services, online submission and processing city camera surveillance, and interactive customer platforms. On renewable energy, our commitment to sustainability opens doors for investment in solar, wind, and other renewable sources, aligning with the global trends toward greener practices. The city is currently finalizing external approvals for a 100 megawatt solar farm at Krobra Farm. The project is expected to contribute immensely to lowering power costs and ensuring continued power supply. Other renewable opportunities exist in the form of rooftop solar projects and utilization of the wetlands for solar farms to generate a target of 30 megawatts. Your Worship, alongside these opportunities, our master plan is awaiting approval. This master plan aims to promote sustainable development, enhance quality of life, and create jobs for our citizens. Major initiatives include the development of smart commercial corridors, improved public transport systems, densified housing projects, industrial parks, and green spaces that foster community and well-being. We anticipate to rolling out these initiatives over the next 5 years by way of expression of interest or any other relevant bidding processes. Your Worship, to realize our ambitious goals, we are expanding our focus on public-private partnerships. Triple Ps are essential in leveraging private expertise and capital for public benefit. Through Triple Ps, we can efficiently deliver projects while sharing risks and rewards. This collaborative approach will enable us to innovate and improve service delivery. Your Worship, the following is a summary of current projects. Shawasha Market, feasibility study done, awaiting submission and approval by the Zimbabwe Development Agency, ZIDA. Mbare and Glenview Market, Mbare Phase 1 Market constructed and operational. Phase 2 Tsiga, works in progress, Glenview project, preparation in progress. On waste management BOT, Council resolved to include waste collection as part of the waste to energy agreement. Door-to-door waste collection commenced and the city has received positive reviews for areas serviced. Full implementation is in progress. On smart water metering project, Ministry of Local Government and Public Works, City of Harare, and a private investor signed an agreement for the supply and installation of 320,000 prepaid water meters and a billing system, rehabilitation of Morton Jeffrey and water infrastructure valued at $342 million US. The project will address key challenges of the high non-revenue water, low collection efficiency, and low production capacity. The project commenced with capacitation of technical staff and installation of prepaid meters on a pilot run. The rehabilitation of wastewater infrastructure is planned to be done through a combination of a Triple P with the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works, City of Harare, and a private investor, and also through the city's internally generated funds. Subject to all relevant approvals being granted, the total investment for the Triple P is estimated at $750 million US. The project entails the introduction of new treatment technology that is compliant to environmental standards and also the replacement and upgrading of the wastewater pipe network. Your Worship, during the period January to September 2025, the City of Harare recorded total receipts of 4.286 billion ZiG against a billing of 8.286 billion ZiG. The collection efficiency trend has been 48.4% in the first quarter, 47.5% in the second quarter, and 54% in the third quarter. Although this represented an improvement compared to earlier quarters, liquidity remained tight with limited fiscal space. Improvements in the third quarter signals early success from ongoing reforms embarked on by the city, such as compliance checks, stringent data follow-ups, increase in electronic payment platforms, and integration of the systems. The main challenge is that many residents are reluctant to pay because they feel the services are not satisfactory. This creates a cycle where payment is not as per budget, and less payment means there is inadequate funding to improve services. In 2026, the city must change the cycle by introducing clear service for payment initiatives and strengthening revenue collection enforcement to rebuild public trust. Liquidity problems are still making it hard to manage our working capital. For 2026, the budget includes monthly cash flow forecasting and clear cash allocation systems that prioritize essential services to keep the running smoothly. A fully integrated ERP system will help track income in real time, allowing better decisions on how to use our resources. Your Worship, revenue inflows remain concentrated in a few major lines: property tax, water, and refuse collection, which together make up nearly 60% of total receipts. The limited diversification increases fiscal vulnerability of the city. Property tax-based growth is affected by delays in processes of addition of new properties, while water revenue is weakened by billing gaps. Non-billed income, primarily from plan approvals and licenses, remain a crucial source, generating 900 million ZiG from the total receipts of 4.286 billion ZiG. Your Worship, the city introduced the 3 ring-fenced levies for specific recapitalization of critical areas which were built starting March 2025. The levies are emergency services levy, public lighting levy, and special water infrastructure levy. On emergency services levy is aimed at capitalization of fire and ambulance services. By September 30th, 45.9 million ZiG was billed, with 19.7 million ZiG being collected. 3 ambulances were procured from the collected funds. On public lighting levy, it is aimed at renewal and expansion of the city's public lighting infrastructure. 39.3 million ZiG was billed, with 16.9 million ZiG being collected. 2 platforms were procured, which are critical operational assets for the public lighting section. On special water infrastructure levy, aimed at building the capacity of water infrastructure renewal for the city, 77.9 million was billed, with 33.5 million ZiG being collected. Processes are currently underway to have foreign payments be facilitated by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe for foreign obligations. Going forward, the city must maximize these high-impact non-billed streams through fast-tracked approvals, e-platform integration, and improved customer interfaces. Additionally, the city must regularly clean up billing data in order to identify under-assessed properties and reduce leakages. The 2026 budget plan should focus on both strong enforcement and using digital tools to work more efficiently. It is based on the idea that it is better to increase the number of people paying than to put too much pressure on those who already do. Your Worship, As at 30 September 2025, the total outstanding debt owed to the city of Harare amounts to a substantial 8.61 billion ZiG. The data structure reveals that domestic consumers account for 60.44%, commercial and industrial 31.81%, dormitory towns 4.42%, and government entities 2.95%. To contextualize this sum is sufficient to fully recapitalize our vehicle fleet, rehabilitate key trunk roads, and secure water treatment chemicals for an entire year. These funds rightfully belong to our residents, and their absence severely restricts our operational capability. The current situation is unsustainable and demands immediate, decisive interventions. Over 60% of this debt, amounting to more than 5.2 billion, originates from the domestic consumers. The commercial and industrial sectors collectively account for approximately 26%, totaling around 2.26 billion ZiG. Therefore, our debt recovery strategy must be precisely targeted with an urgent focus on addressing the domestic areas to restore the city's financial stability. For 2026, the city will operationalize a segmented arrears reduction strategy. Domestic ratepayers will be offered conditional amnesties linked to consistent current bill settlement. Commercial entities will face strict enforcement, including disconnections, garnish, and litigation options. Government arrears will be predominantly settled through intergovernmental offsets. Your Worship, as of 30 September 2025, the city owes 2.114 billion ZiG, up from 1.4 billion ZiG in January 2025. More than half of this debt, which is 54.83%, comes from electricity bills. The high electricity costs, mainly from power-intensive water and sewer systems, use up a large part of the limited funds meant for running and maintaining services. The 2026 budget plan focuses on cutting energy costs by using solar power across the city. For staff leave, the city will enforce a policy to use up leave to stop extra leave from building up, which currently costs 1.54 billion ZiG. On top of this, the city still owes a 93.5 million USD from the development and rehabilitation of municipal water and sewage treatment works for the City of Harare project of 2010, funded through the China Exim Bank, which adds extra pressure on finances because it must be repaid in foreign currency, making it harder to manage daily operations. We are in a process of finalizing the payment modalities using special water levy, which was provided for in the 2025 budget. Your Worship, employee compensation remains one of the city's most significant cost drivers. As of September 2025, accrued salaries totaled 3.164 billion ZiG. The dominance of personnel expenditure constrains allocations to capital and maintenance programs. The 2026 budget includes several ways to control staff costs, mainly by limiting new hires and moving staff from positions that are no longer needed. The city will also review and adjust staff numbers in departments to focus on key services. The main goal is to lower staff costs compared to the money the city receives, following local government's limits to balance employment benefits with the city's budget health. Your Worship, between January and September 2025, capital expenditure amounted to 235 million ZiG, reflecting subdued investment levels. Expenditure during this period was primarily directed towards the procurement of sewer pipes, road rehabilitation, the acquisition of 3 ambulances valued at 7.59 million ZiG through the emergency levy, operational equipment and vehicles, and infrastructure works at Rufaro Stadium. The underperformance in the capital spending is attributable to constrained liquidity, procurement bottlenecks, and the prioritization of unavoidable recurrent obligations such as water treatment chemicals, staff salaries, and fuel costs. Consequently, critical infrastructure renewal, particularly in water and wastewater treatment, as well as road rehabilitation, has significantly lagged behind schedule. Going forward, the city intends to prioritize capital expenditure within the first 2 quarters of 2026, with a strategic focus on quick win projects that will positively influence customer perception and improve collection rates. Key initiatives include the replacement of water network pipes, installation of water meters, refurbishment of sewer networks, and procurement of heavy machinery. To enhance oversight and ensure efficient fund utilization, a performance monitoring dashboard will be introduced to track project milestones in real time. Furthermore, public-private partnerships within the water, sanitation, and hygiene wash sector will be actively pursued to bridge funding gaps and secure tangible advancements in service delivery during the first half of the fiscal year. The devolution of funds remain a key part of the government of Zimbabwe's commitment to decentralizing fiscal resources, as outlined in Section 301 of the Constitution, which ensures fair distribution of national funds to local governments. However, as of September 30, 2025, the city of Harare has yet to receive its allocation for the year. Despite this delay, the city continues to prioritize devolution goals within its overall plans for capital projects and service delivery, hopeful that the funds will be released before the financial year ends. The hold-up has slowed down important infrastructure work, especially in the water sector, where funds were meant for rehabilitating water treatment facilities and upgrading sewer lines. Still, the city is prepared to move forward immediately once the funds become available. While the 2025 transfers are still pending, the city is guided by the approved budget, which focused on vital infrastructure and social services. In WASH, we received the allocation 7.6 million. It's earmarked for water treatment, rehabilitation, and sewer works. On roads, 1.5 million USD, resealing of major roads, drainage network upgrades, and maintenance. On social services, 3.7 million USD, construction of a primary school and a clinic upgrade. Total indicative, 12.8 million. The failure to release the allocated devolution funds has significantly impacted the city's progress. Many important infrastructure projects, which had already been approved, are now put on hold because they are waiting for funding to move forward. Your Worship, during the 2025 year, the Zimbabwe National Roads Administration, ZINARA, continued to provide critical support towards the maintenance and rehabilitation of the city of Harare's road network. The city, as a designated road authority, received total disbursements amounting to 85.2 million ZiG as at 20 October 2025. Of this amount, 24.496 million was allocated towards routine maintenance, while 60.7 million ZiG was earmarked for periodic maintenance works towards the reconstruction of the Dziwarasekwa and Warren Park Road. In addition to those financial allocations, ZINARA further supported the city's operations through the provision of 110,000 liters of diesel fuel valued at approximately 177,000 US dollars during the first 3 quarters of the year. This fuel allocation greatly assisted in sustaining on-the-ground maintenance activities and ensuring continuity of service delivery. Furthermore, the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Development, through the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program ERRP2, has complemented the city's efforts by undertaking major rehabilitation works on major roads within the capital. This coordinated approach between Zinara, the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Development, and the City of Harare have gone a long way in improving the condition of key roads within the capital, enhancing connectivity and facilitating economic and social activity. On our strategic business units, Your Worship, City Parking Private Limited revenue collection from parking fees has shown significant growth towards targets. This is a testament to the efficiency of operations and the dedication of staff. In line with the mandate, City Parking Private Limited remitted 30% of parking fees collection to the shareholder, amounting to 1.739 million US dollars and 23.19 million ZiG for the period January to August 2025. The entity also remitted 60% of the enforcement fees collection, amounting to 4.036 million ZiG and 0.411 million US dollars for the period January to mid-October 2025. These remittances demonstrate the commitment to supporting the city's revenue streams. City Parking Private Limited is taking several important steps to improve parking services and support our community. There are plans to expand parking zones into growing commercial areas, increasing convenience and boosting revenue. By using advanced technology, including surveillance vehicles, the entity has enhanced the compliance and reduced the revenue losses. Your Worship, we are proud that our strategic business unit has achieved the ISO certification, reflecting commitment to quality and customer satisfaction. In addition, City Parking Private Limited will continue offering exemptions to the elderly and war veterans as part of our social responsibility. Finally, there are plans set to develop the Mbare bus terminus and the key transport hub to improve infrastructure and passenger experience. On Rufaro Marketing, Your Worship, Rufaro Marketing Private Limited continue to navigate the effectiveness of their operations and has made significant strides in delivering value to the shareholders and stakeholders. The entity remits 80%, 20% cash, and 60% ring-fenced for social infrastructure. To date, Rufaro Marketing has remitted a total of 53,000 US dollars and 240,000 ZiG and contributed, that is 20%, and contributed USD 160,000 and 720,000 ZiG towards Rufaro Stadium rehabilitation works. On Rufaro Stadium, the development of Rufaro Stadium remains a key priority for Rufaro Marketing Private Limited. The stadium has a potential to be a major revenue-generating asset for the city and ensuring that it is developed to its full potential. The plans for the stadium include upgrading the facilities, increasing the seating capacity, and hosting major events that will attract visitors and revenue to the city. Your Worship, as we present the 2026 City of Harare budget, it is important to underscore the principle that guides our planning. Inclusive service delivery is both a social and economic imperative. We acknowledge that women, youth, and vulnerable groups have long borne the brunt of inadequate municipal services, especially in critical areas such as water access, sanitation, waste management, and public safety. In response, this budget intentionally integrates gender-responsive and social inclusion objectives across both operational and capital allocations. Our commitment is clear. No ward, no community, and no demographic shall be left as we steer Harare's recovery and growth. This is not merely compliance with national policy frameworks such as the Zimbabwe National Gender Policy, the National Development Strategy 1, all of which emphasize equitable participation in economic and civic life, but a deliberate commitment to harness gender equity as a catalyst for sustainable urban transformation. We firmly believe that fostering inclusive growth and equality will create a stronger, more resilient Harare, empowered to meet the challenges of today and seize the opportunities for tomorrow. Allocations targeting women, youth, and vulnerable groups. On water, sanitation, and hygiene wash, 30% of wash rehabilitation funds are for projects that directly ease the domestic water burden on women and girls, such as boosting of water provision in Mabvuku, an area which has perennially suffered from inadequate water supply through rehabilitation of Letombo Pump Station. Funds have been allocated to construct public ablution blocks with ramps for social inclusion of persons with disabilities. Waste recycling clusters in Mbare, Glenview, and Mabvuku will prioritize youth cooperatives turning waste into income. Clinic upgrades to maternity facilities in areas of service provision gaps like Maubra, Tariro, and Rujeko. Markets modernization, that is Mpedzanamo, Glenora, Kwadzana, will incorporate safe trading zones with storage and lighting for female traders. The city has a disability and inclusion policy, and deliberate efforts will be made to allocate significant trading spaces to persons with disabilities and widowed household heads. Your Worship, the city intends to establish 3 drug and substance rehabilitation centers: Halfway Home, Old Highfield Rehabilitation Center, and Matapi Rehabilitation Center. The city also intends to expansion of public lighting in hotspots, improves women's safety during the night. High-mast towers will be installed progressively in different wards of the city: Heathcliff, Mabvuku, Glenview, Glenora, and Budiriro, among others. To institutionalize inclusivity, every program in the 2026 budget carries gender and social inclusion markers. Governance and administration, gender-balanced representation in budget consultations and ward development fora. On roads, we designed roads design of pedestrian infrastructure with safety rails, lighting, and ramps for the physically challenged. On housing, transparent housing allocation, accommodating female-headed households. On environmental conservation, women and youth groups to lead community tree planting and wetland protection initiatives under the Green Harare campaign. Expected results for 2026. Your Worship, we expect 10% improved access to water provision from 300 megaliters to 560 megaliters. 1,000 youths trained and employed through municipal projects. 10% of all small business space allocations reserved for vulnerable groups. Reduction in reported safety incidents in previously unlit markets and bus terminali. Demonstrable improvement in gender disaggregated access to essential services. The city commits to allocate at least 5% of its capital and recurrent budget to gender and inclusion specific initiatives tracked through program-based budgeting lines. This aligns municipal action with National SDG number 5 on gender equality and SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, ensuring Harare's development path is inclusive, safe, and equitable. Your Worship, the 2026 financial plan for the city of Harare is built on two strategic pillars. That is enhanced revenue mobilization and accelerated capital investment. On enhanced revenue mobilization and fiscal discipline, ensuring predictable cash flows to sustain service delivery, and on accelerated capital investment anchored on infrastructure renewal, digital modernization, and community resilience. The consolidated estimates present a total resource envelope of 690.8 million USD, of which approximately 234.8 million USD, which is 34%, is directed towards capital expenditure programs, while 455.3 million, which is 66%, supports recurrent operations and service maintenance. Your Worship, projected total revenue for 2026 amounts to 690.8 million USD, reflecting a 19% nominal growth from the 2025 outturn. Growth is driven by projected improved billing efficiency under the new ERP, property base increase due to inclusion of new properties which had not been captured over the years due to bottlenecks in surveying, regularization of properties, moderate tariff adjustments, and stronger enforcement measures across key revenue streams. Your Worship, internally generated revenues amount to 515.9 million US dollars disaggregated into the following income streams. Refuse collection, 34.667 million USD. Wastewater, 40.276 million USD. Property tax, 211.774 USD. Cemeteries, 1.7 million USDs. Water services, 123,512,400. Business license, 6.141,700. Municipal police services, 2 million. Housing, 13.14 million USD. City parking, 4.68 million USDs. Estates, 23.189 million USDs. Welfare, 5.863 million USD. Building inspectorate, 21.810 million USDs. Emergency services, 2.930 million USDs. Endowment fees, 4.5 million USDs. Education fees, 2.827 million USDs. Hospital and clinic fees, 4.449 million USDs. Rank fees, 3.098 million USD. Town planning, 2.150 million USD. SMEs, 4.266 million USDs. And others, 2.872 million USD. Key revenue enhancement measures for 2026. Digital billing and e-receipting. Full deployment of ERP for real-time billing of water, refuse, property tax, and licenses. Tariff rationalization, that is the implementation of cost-effective yet socially sensitive tariffs across utilities. Debt recovery drive, enforcement of payment plans, and automation of reminders to substantively reduce arrears by 25%. Licensing compliance audits targeting informal and small enterprise segments for inclusion in the revenue net. Investment and PPP promotion, attracting private participation in water, wastewater, SMEs development, and solar projects. Asset optimization, sweating of council assets to get maximum benefits. These measures are expected to stabilize monthly cash inflows and gradually improve the city's liquidity position, enabling predictable disbursements to service departments. On capital expenditure priorities, we have got service delivery. Capital investment in 2026 totals $234 million US, with focus on asset renewal and service delivery expansion. On WASH, $127.4 million US is earmarked for refurbishment of Morton Jeffrey and Prince Edward plants, replacement of critical water and sewer mains, procurement, installation, and prepaid water meters, and rehabilitation of wastewater conveyance network, including Amalinda stream crossing. On roads, $38.1 million USD is earmarked for overlay and the reseal of 200 kilometers roads, Glenview and Budiriro drainage upgrades, smart traffic signals for 10 intersections. On social services, $43.2 million US are earmarked for clinic rehabilitation, construction of market stores and the recreation centers, construction of drug and substance rehabilitation centers. On governance and administration, $21.4 million USD is earmarked for the ERP rollout, civic center upgrades, fleet recapitalization for finance and audit teams, and buildings maintenance. On public safety and security, $4.1 million US is earmarked for fire tenders and ambulances, CCTVs systems, and street lighting. On natural resources conservation management, $0.5 million US is earmarked for wetland rehabilitation, tree planting, and climate resilient projects. The 2026 budget introduces a structured infrastructure modernization agenda centered on technology, sustainability, and resilience. A full ERP integration for finance, HR, billing, procurement, and asset management. Smart metering for high consumption clients. Phase 1, 100,000 connections. Data-driven performance dashboards accessible to management and council. On operational assets, acquisition of front-end loaders, 2 graders, 10 tipper trucks, 5 backhoe loaders, 10 flatbeds, 2 low-bed trucks, and 2 excavators, and 1 reclaimer, motorized water bowser, asphalt mixing plant, bitumen distributor, road marking machine, among others to restore service capacity. Installation of fleet tracking systems. On energy efficiency and green transition, solar street lighting, 20 kilometers priority corridors, rooftop solar on municipal clinics and district offices to reduce grid dependence. On smart water management, non-revenue water monitoring through digital pressure zones, real-time water quality sensors at treatment plants. On urban resilience and climate adaptation, stormwater master plan implementation and green infrastructure expansion, community early warning systems for flood-prone areas. On triple Ps and innovation financing, we've got structured triple Ps pipeline for water, wastewater, and SMEs development. Also use of devolution funds and loan funding for capital leveraging. On expected outcomes for 2026, on capital delivered, more than 50% execution rate on infrastructure project bolstered by triple Ps, devolutions, and loans. We also expect liquidity stability, predictable monthly cash flows, and enhanced creditworthiness. On service improvement, reliable water supply, clean streets, safer roads, and responsive public health facilities. On institutional efficiency, automated billing, audit transparency, and reduced leakages. Your Worship, the 2026 revenue and capital estimates present a financially realistic yet transformative roadmap. The balanced cost recovery with affordability, channel resources to infrastructure renewal, and embedded digital transformation across service departments. Through disciplined implementation, the City of Harare will reinforce public confidence and move closer to our vision, aspiration of a modern, sustainable, and inclusive capital city. On key tariffs, residential and commercial water charges, introduction of prepaid smart water meters. Your Worship, to enhance billing efficiency and promote responsible water usage, the City of Harare will roll out prepaid smart water meters across residential and commercial or industrial properties through a public-private partnership arrangement. The initiative is part of the 2026 to 2030 WASH modernization strategy, aligning with the Vision 2030 and the city's commitment to financial sustainability, transparency, and improved customer service. Consequently, Your Worship, this initiative comes with a heavy investment which translates to increased tariffs as presented below. Water consumption will be charged on a pay-as-you-use basis, allowing households to monitor usage in real time and avoid estimated billing. This model ensures predictable revenue streams for the city while promoting equity, conservation, and transparency. Your Worship, the 2026 Water Tariff Review aims to align rates with the cost recovery while maintaining affordability for low-consumption households. Residential lifeline band of 0 to 5 cubic meters remains moderately subsidized to protect vulnerable households, while consumption above 20 cubic meters incurs incremental cost recovery. Example ranges 2 cubic meters domestic, progressively rising by usage band. Commercial and industrial indexed to supply cost and energy inputs, ensuring industrial users contribute proportionately. On water charge, residential high density, that is 0 to 5 cubic meters. The existing is $1.24. Your Worship, I propose $2. On residential low density, 0 to 5 cubic meters, the existing is $1.70, which is approximately $2, and we propose $4.90. On water commercial, 0 to 100 cubic meters, existing, it was $50. We are proposing $50. On 0 to 200 cubic meters, the existing is 75. It's being maintained at $75. 200 to 500 cubic meters, $150, and we propose $150. On water commercial consumption, bulk from 0 to 100, we propose $6. Above 100 cubic meters, we propose $4. On sewerage charges, sewerage tariffs have been adjusted to cover pumping, treatment, and maintenance costs at Krobra and field works. Residential fixed monthly charge of $9 and $13 respectively for high and low density properties. The commercial and industrial charge based the number of fitments installed on a property. On sewer charges, residential high density $9, residential low density $13, commercial per fitment $17.20. On refuse collection, Your Worship, refuse collection remains a key pillar of visible service delivery and public health protection. Domestic, that is high to low density, $9 for high density and $13 for low density, scaled by property class. On commercial, aligned with the waste volume and frequency of collection. In line with the Government of Zimbabwe's directive for municipalities to rationalize and reduce business license fees, the City of Harare has recalibrated its 2026 tariff framework to support investment growth, enterprise formalization, and economic recovery. This proposed budget tariff structure seeks to make Harare a competitive, inclusive, and business-friendly city, while maintaining adequate fiscal capacity to sustain service delivery. The city has adopted a tiered reduction model, balancing compliance with the national directive and its own fiscal sustainability. This model recognizes Harare's strategic role as the national capital and commercial hub, where affordable licensing is essential to attract investments, create jobs, and formalize the small to medium enterprises. Your Worship, it is, however, important to note that the 2025 and prior licensing regime was crucial for the city to subsidize the provision of public health services to make them affordable to all. The city has reconfigured other sources to keep health services within reach for all. The key business license fee structure. Shop license, that is below 50 square meters. The existing charge is $400. We propose $200 in 2026, which is a 50% reduction. On shop licenses, 50 square meters to 100 square meters, the existing is $600. We are proposing $300, which is also a 50% reduction. On shop licenses above 100 square meters, we propose, the existing is $800 per square meter. We are proposing $500, which is a 38% reduction. Hairdressers Class A shop from 460, we are reducing to 230. Hairdressers Class B shop from 345 to 173. For hawkers, non-food items, which is currently at 115, we are proposing $58, which is a 50% reduction. For hawkers, food from 115 to $58, which is also a 50% reduction. This encourages food to safety compliance through affordable licensing. The 2026 tariffs are structured to support full cost recovery for essential utilities without compromising affordability. It also anchors environmental sustainability, encouraging water conservation, recycling, and waste minimization. It also advances digital transformation by enabling e-billing, e-licensing, and integrated receipting to enhance transparency and ease of payment. The full tariff schedule will be available for inspection during the public deposit period. Your Worship, the 2026 projected expenditure by program. Your Worship, the 2026 City of Harare estimates represents a total consolidated expenditure envelope of approximately 690.192 million, translating to a growth of 19% over the 2025 approved budget. This expansion accommodates inflationary pressures and deliberate front-loading of capital expenditure to restore reliability in water, waste management, roads, and emergency services. Expenditure distribution follows the program-based budgeting framework, which aligns city functions to service delivery outcomes and outputs. The 6 core programs are governance and administration, WASH, social services, roads, public safety and security services, natural resources, conservation and management. Together, they embody the 2026 budget theme, a commitment to inclusive growth, sustainable service delivery, and strong fiscal stewardship. The aggregated allocation, governance and administration is a total of 104.46 million, which is 15.4% of the total budget. This focuses on financial management, policy coordination, ICT modernization, and corporate services. On WASH, an allocation of 297.01 million US dollars, which is 43.03% of the total budget. This is focusing on water production, sewer rehabilitation, solid waste management. On social services, a 123.97 million USD, which is 17.96%. Its focus is on health, education, housing, markets, and recreation. On roads, 118.95 million US dollars, which is also 17.23% of the total budget, which focuses on road rehabilitation and traffic management. Public safety and security services, 42.62 million, which is 6.18%. It's focusing on municipal policing, emergency services, and public lighting. On natural resources and conservation and management, 1.68 million US dollars, which is 0.24%, which focuses on wetland protection and climate resilience, to give us a total of 690.19 million US dollars. Your Worship, capital expenditure represents 34% of the total 2026 proposed budget, reflecting a deliberate shift from the 2025 budget recurrent to asset ratio of 25%, creating capital outlays bolstered by PPP's financing in the water sector, while recurrent operations, including salaries, fuel, power, and repairs and maintenance, account for 66% of the total budget. On governance, Your Worship, this program underpins city operations by providing strategic leadership, management, ICT systems, and human resources administration. Its 2026 allocation of 105.97 million USD aims to strengthen institutional performance and compliance. Major cost drivers are employee costs, 42.7 million, ICT modernization and ERP rollout, 12.95 million, repairs and maintenance of buildings, 5.56 million US dollars, audit and governance functions, 3.8 million US dollars. On 2026 priorities is ERP deployment, full migration to a robust ERP covering all core modules. Fiscal discipline, prioritize expenditure towards service delivery, adhering to expenditure limits and cash flows. Human capital development, capacity building in IPSAS and Public Finance Management Act compliance for all key employees. ICT and cyber security, city data center backup and secure networking for district offices. The expected outcome in 2026 is improved audit opinion, automated financial reporting, wage to revenue ratio within the statutory provisions. On WASH, Your Worship, at 297.01 million US dollars, WASH remains the city's largest program, underscoring water security and sanitation as core public health obligations. The water sub-programs are water services, an allocation of 199.83 million US dollars, which is 67%. Waste water services, 58.64 million. wastewater services, 58.64 million US dollars, which is 20%. On solid waste management, 38.54 million US dollars, which is 13%. The key investments in 2026 are installation of smart water meters, about 100,000, pump refurbishment and chemical procurement to ensure 24-hour operation at Morton Jeffrey and Prince Edward. Trunk main replacement, that's a rehabilitation of aged mains in Greendale, Mavuku and Highfields. Rehabilitation of wastewater conveyance network, including Amalinda stream crossing. Cobra and fuel upgrades, biofilter restoration and sludge handling units. Solid waste, construction of material recovery centers. Performance targets guided by the minimum service delivery standards are potable water production up to 520 megaliters a day from 335 megaliters a day in 2025. 60% reduction in sewer blockages. Refuse collection coverage of 100%. And a non-revenue water reduction to 30% in line with the minimum service delivery standards. Your Worship, the program directly advances SDG number 6 on clean water and sanitation and SDG number 11, sustainable cities. On social services program, the total allocation of 123.95 million US dollars, which is 17.96%, it funds health, housing, education, markets, recreation, and social protection. Health services have an allocation of 52.38 million US dollars, which contributes 42%. Housing and estates, 13.79 million US dollars, which is 11%. Education facilities, 7.26 million US dollars, which is 6%. Parks and cemeteries, 10.59 million US dollars, which is 8%. Markets and SMEs development, 27.9 million US dollars, which is 22%. And then welfare has got 13.18 million US dollars, which is 11% of the allocation, social services allocation. Major projects in 2026 under social services allocation: clinic rehabilitation, upgrading of 15 clinics with solar backup. On maternal health, upgrading of Rujeko Tariro and Maubra into maternity centers. Specialist service, establishment of Wilkins Infectious Disease Hospital Diagnostic Center and Wilkins Theatre. On markets modernization, upgraded Mpedzanamo, Kwadzana, Glenview, and Mbare Siaso, lighting and sanitation. On housing, servicing of infill stands and title regularization for 5,000 units. On youth and gender programs, 1,000 youths trained under urban skills and recycling initiatives. On the expected outputs, patients' attendance up by 15% at our health facilities. That's our target. 1,000 market stores rehabilitated and allocated with 25% reserved for women and persons with disabilities. 20 hectares of new green space restored. On roads program, Your Worship, a USD 106.45 million US dollars co-funded by Zinara and council-owned revenues. Program emphasizes preventive maintenance and traffic efficiency. On the total allocation, Your Worship, road maintenance and rehabilitation gets 79.51 million US dollars, which is 75% of the allocation. Drainage and stormwater management, 9.43 million US dollars, which is 9%. Traffic management and planning, 17.51 million US dollars, which is 16%. The projects earmarked are overlays or reseals, 35-kilometer arterial and district roads, periodic maintenance across the city, drainage upgrades, Glenview 8, Budiriro and Mbare catchments, upgrade of existing signalized junctions to solar, LED and poles. On bus terminal, upgrading of Resende bus terminus. On digital systems, installation of CCTV at intersections and traffic management systems. On road markings and signage, rehabilitation of critical corridors, Samora Machel, Seke Road, and Mutare roads. Your Worship, on public safety and security program, an allocation of 42.62 million US dollars supporting fire, ambulance, municipal policing, and public lighting. Of the 42.62 million allocation, Your Worship, the emergency services gets 12.87 million US dollars, which is 30%. Municipal police, 22.27 million US dollars, which is 52%. Public lighting, 7.48 million, which is 18%. Our focus is on refurbishment of 3 fire stations and procurement of 2 fire tenders. Procurement of 10 ambulances and a fleet dispatch system. CCTV at traffic junctions and public lighting in crime hotspots, Glenview, Mbare, Kwadzan. Gender-based violence awareness campaigns in markets and ranks. The envisaged outcomes are fire response time, 5 minutes per 5-kilometer radius, improved public order and compliance through ERP-linked license enforcement. Your Worship, on natural resources conservation and management program. Your Worship, 1.68 million US dollars has been allocated, have been targeted towards urban resilience and environmental governance. 2026 interventions include the following: wetland rehabilitation in hillside, tree planting of about 30,000 under the Green Harare initiatives, climate awareness education, communities and schools, 10 wetlands secured under community and co-management, 15 schools integrated into climate education program, 5 community recycling centers established. Your Worship, cross-program analysis and policy implications. Capital bias. 34% of expenditure devoted to asset creation, vital for service reliability and confidence rebuilding. Wage control, we target wage to cash to be within 30% to release fiscal space for repairs and maintenance. On Triple P's acceleration, private capital mobilized for water distribution expansion, solid waste SMEs investment, street lighting and public lighting infrastructure. On gender and inclusion, every program tagged for beneficiary tracking. On devolution funds dedicated to capital projects with a high community impact, wash, health and roads. On accountability mechanisms, quarterly performance reports and performance dashboards to measure program outcomes. Your Worship, the 2026 projected expenditure plan shows our commitment to careful and well-planned spending on important city projects. It makes sure we use funds wisely while urgently focusing on the things that matter most to our residents, which is clean water, good roads, adequate waste management, safety, and better living environment. This plan will help the city of Harare make progress towards becoming a modern, inclusive, and sustainable capital city that aligns with the Vision 2030. Your Worship, I recommend accelerated ERP implementation in staff capacity building. I recommend that we expedite the rollout of a comprehensive enterprise resource planning system to integrate financial management, real-time reporting, and internal controls. We prioritize extensive staff training on ERP, environmental, social, and governance frameworks, and IPSAS. I also recommend the strengthening of governance and fiscal and financial oversight to achieve full Public Finance Management Act compliance by December 2026 and publish quarterly budget performance bulletins. We recommend we decentralize services and enhance citizen engagement, deepening decentralization by empowering district offices with the resources and capacity building, improving access to basic services. Increase citizen participation mechanisms to foster inclusive governance and responsiveness. We also recommend to enhance fiscal management and revenue mobilization by strengthening revenue collection, by integrating ERP with the cost-reflective tariffs, maintaining employee cost within the statutory threshold, implementing digital receipting, e-billing, and online payments, and conducting value for money audits alongside quarterly cash flow reviews. I also recommend to prioritize capital investment and asset management. We focus on essential service delivery investments, water, sanitation, roads, by implementing a 3-year fleet recapitalization and rolling asset renewal plan with life cycle management, to implement a strategic asset disposal program to remove obsolete assets and recycle funds for productive use. I also recommend to promote renewable energy and environmental sustainability, to accelerate solar and other renewable energy projects to reduce utility costs and dependence. Also, to expand green infrastructure, including stormwater resilience, waste segregation, recycling incentives, urban forestry, and a citywide tree planting program with attention to replacing aging species. Advance the smart technologies and digital transformation, complete council-wide ERP rollout, introduce smart water metering to reduce non-revenue water and improve billing efficiency, to develop GIS, asset or property database, offer e-services to residents and businesses, and leverage data analytics dashboards for real-time decision support. Support social protection, inclusion, and urban renewal by maintain lifeline tariffs for vulnerable households, mainstream gender and disability budgeting with clear targets, upgrade clinics, schools, markets in high-density areas, and continue rehabilitation of social amenities. Promote affordable housing initiatives limited to service distance, and launch urban renewal programs for aging neighborhoods and public spaces. We also recommend to foster strategic partnerships and collaboration, strengthen coordination with Treasury, local government, ZINARA, and development partners, UNDP, World Bank, and UN Habitat. Before I conclude, Your Worship and fellow councillors, I would like to sincerely acknowledge the following. Our heartfelt thanks go to all residents and stakeholders whose invaluable input helped shape the 2026 budget. Your insights and active participation played a crucial role in creating a budget that is both comprehensive and financially responsible. Your contributions allowed us to set clear priorities and allocate resources efficiently. We believe that the engagement of our community has strengthened our shared commitment to transparency, accountability, and meaningful collaboration. I also want to thank my fellow councillors for their thoughtful deliberations and guidance during the budgeting process. Our appreciation goes to the town clerk, acting finance director, and their teams, as well as the heads of departments and staff, for their hard work in preparing these estimates. Your Worship, the success of these programs depends on the resources contributed by residents, business, government, and satellite towns when they meet their payment obligations on time. Prompt payments help us maintain critical services, water supply, sanitation, waste collection, and street lighting, and enable us to invest in important infrastructure projects. Finally, Your Worship, this budget, built on your input and Council's careful consideration, is a bold commitment by the City of Harare to recover and transgress to sustainable urban transformation. It reinforces fiscal discipline, digital modernization, and inclusive service delivery as the pillars upon which the city's renewal will stand, as captured by our guiding theme for 2026, a commitment to inclusive growth, sustainable service delivery, and strong fiscal stewardship. I now have the pleasure, Your Worship, fellow councillors, to request Council to approve the 2026 estimates of expenditure and revenues. I thank you, Tatenda Siabonga Twalumba.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I have some issues in one or two areas. As we are aware, Chairperson, as well as you, it's on Monday. It's on Monday, 22nd. Takaita a joint committee meeting here, and there are some amendments. Takaita, councillors and some reservations in terms of increase. Yekumvura Takaita. But today, increase yakati nayo yatowedzera vakanga iri mpaka magona, meaning to say our complaint yatakazigadziswa inangini yatowedzera titairaise an issue on that particular issue. That's the first issue. Then my other issue, Your Worship, inyaya ine chekuita ne water smart meters. In the spirit of public accountability, I also believe kuti mu budget ngazviwe clearly stated kuti water smart meters iri kuitwa between government, council, kwete kuti na private player, no. Mention kuti ndiani, do you get my point? Pama mention kuti government, nga mention kuti city of Harare. In that spirit, mention futi panyayo. Reason being, that US 750 million that is supposed to be paid by the resident is supposed to be clear in the budget. Kuti mari icha but how nema residents. But the mari akawanda. But it can go silent in my view. Drastic point a problem. But there is an issue that I believe kuti FD is supposed to respond. Kuti 750 ye Ukraine water smart water meters. Icha badarwa how nema residents. That thing again if I was really clearly stated the machine mu budget, because it's an issue that needs an answer. Because at the end of the day, currently my residents wane mari aru badara. So far kune mari badara ma rates yemvura fixed charge. Either washanisa mvura or hauna mari every property owner anafana kubhadhara. Kune mari yagara zvagara iripa budget ye chikwereti chacha ye water levy. If you are aware that water levy again my residents vari kubilwa futi every month. So the same way as US 750 million USD supposed to be clear kuti iri kukavwa how, so that the residents will be aware. So those questions zika anziwa, I think I will be glad, because my residents, they will be watching what is going on. Then lastly, the answers concerning who changed what we have agreed in the joint committee.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Ngadzore. The drive of the city currently is to have massive infrastructure development. We intend to, if you heard very well, we intend to upgrade all our sewer trunks through the partnership, as part of the partnership. All the main trunks and also we intend to upgrade our plant and pumping capacity at the Morton Jeffrey. Obviously, those works come with a cost attached to it, and at the end of the day, the cost is obviously going to be borne by the residents.
But the question, Chairperson, how much each property owner, how much each resident is supposed to contribute per month to that bill, so that at least people will be knowing?
Okay. Currently, the the structure of the 2026 budget is we are expecting that the rollout of the smart water meters should start earnestly in the first quarter of 2026. So it's a phased approach where they are targeting 100,000 meters in the first year. So as they put the smart water meters, that's when the charge for the installation of the smart water meters is going to be on the bill. But for the infrastructure development that we are targeting to do from the first quarter of 2026, the cost is on the total bill that has been charged for water consumption. Therefore, that's why you have seen we are saying from 0 to 5 cubic meters, we have put a minimum charge. And as it progresses, then the charge is going to be increased. So the more you use the water, the more the charge that will be on your bill. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm being advised by the Chamber Secretary that any other objections can also be lodged with the office of the Chamber Secretary of the Town Clerk in the 30-day period. Anything that is of high impact and needs amendments or changes can be effected before the final submission of the budget to the Ministry for approval. So, thank you so much.
Budget and the Joint Finance and Development Committee referred above.
So we need a mover in the second one.
One can move in the second.
Your Worship, it is money that I agree with Chamber Secretary. After you present the budget, you want to ask the council to approve. And the Chamber Secretary is saying, after you read it.
No, but I've answered you, Councillor Ngadzori.
I agree.
I've been very fair to you.
I didn't answer what I said. We had a joint committee meeting yesterday. There were some charges that agreed with the committee. The councillors who were there, they know. But today, my charges are there. So, what was the purpose of having that joint committee meeting? So, that question again, I'm not giving it. But because I obviously I don't think the budget. It's a technical issue. So, I was expecting you to
Wakusanga is not allowed to say anything in this meeting.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
No, it's okay.
Thank you. So can we have a mover and a seconder?
Exclude me.
Thank you.
Councillors?
Okay, I move, so I need a seconder, yes. Councillor Shoko, thank you. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mande, Finance Chair, and your committee, as well our Finance Department for the good document.
Thank you, Worship.
I would like to thank all the councillors present here, our management, staff, and the media. This is a good document from my side, and we have time to go through this document. I think for the next 30 days. If you've got some issues, we have to go and tell our residents to come and inspect this document. Also, this document reaches Wenda Ministry for approval. So we know we have some issues, but we still have some time to treat this document. I don't think that can someone close this meeting with a closing prayer? Abeza.